Refuse to lose. I'm built to win. Apply myself. I filled it in. No time for the doubt. They counted me out. I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss. I'm paying the cost. I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it. They told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie. I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah, no time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah, refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Apply myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for the Week 6 previews. As I can see, I got the JSU shirt on. JSU won last night in convincing fashion. It was close to half, but came out second half and dominated. I'll be talking about that tomorrow. But yeah, man, we're gonna talk about these previews. I got 12 games lined up. I warned y'all yesterday around 4:35 or 6 o'clock, something like that. I warned y'all that one be the 15. I got 4 at 12, 3 at 3:30, and then 5 at the late night slate. So we'll get to those. But before we get into those, I'd like that you leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps the network. It helps my channel, CTC, by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. It helps. Also, we got other shows to offer, like the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. Yesterday was just Tomo and Dave. We have BWT, Baseball with Teddy. My Tigers take on the Guardians at 1 today. Baseball, playoff baseball, ALDS starts this week. Starts today. We have FFC, Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. All your fantasy news, updates, stuff like that. NFL goes through there. We have Dave's Doghouse, highlights, lowlights of sport. Check that out there. We got Kings Talk with Joe Jordan, Sacramento Kings Talk, everything Sacramento Kings through Joe. We have Real Ballers Only, RBO featuring Vaughn, NBA content through there. We have In the Red Corner featuring Tomo, Ricky, and Ty, boxing. All your boxing content through there. And we have Unfazed featuring Joe and AJ every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. So far has been NFL heavy. So get their pick'ems, their thoughts on the NFL every Tuesday night. But with that being said, that's all the shows the network have to offer. Like, comment, share, subscribe there as well. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, we're going to start with our Saturday previews in the noon slots. And we're going to start with Missouri. 9th ranked Missouri at 25th ranked Texas A&M. Missouri goes to Cal Field. Tough environment to play in. I think the home field is the reason why Texas A&M is favored by 2.5 points. But we'll get into it. Again, if you're new here, the way my previews work, I give 5 keys for each team to possibly win the game, and then I pick a winner and explain why. First, Missouri. They got to protect Brady Cook. You got Nick Scorton and the guys, and the guys at Texas A&M. Nice D-line, nice front seven. They're going to try to put pressure on Brady Cook. Got to keep him upright and protected. Attack this A&M defense in multiple ways. So, got to attack on the perimeter, got to attack deep, and you got to be able to attack with the run. Just come at them different ways, keep this defense off balance. Establish the run with Marcus Carroll and Nate Noel. You got to establish some type of run. Last year, Cody Schrader was key in the run game with Mizzou. You got to establish the run to keep defenses off their toes. Have to stop the Aggies' rushing attack. You know, they have a bevy of running backs, 3 different backs with Le'Veon Moss, Amari Daniels, and Ruben Owens. Got to be able to stop those 3 guys and force Aggies to score points because the Aggies normally get by on defense. Last week, they only had to score 21 against Arkansas. Arkansas had 3 turnovers, only put up 17. So this week, you got to force them to be able to score more than 21. Now, if you Texas A&M, will Connor Wakeman play as my first key? Because, again, last week, game time decision. This week, so far, I seen he's questionable. Games at noon. No updates so far from what I've been looking at. So still questionable. Establish your rushing attack. Like I said, they got a bevy of backs. You got to establish it. Nick Gordon has to be disruptive. Got to get into play in that backfield if you're Mizzou, whether it's run stopping, creating sacks, maybe a strip sack, fumble. Got to be disruptive. Got to pressure Brady Cook as a front four, and you got to be able to force turnovers. Do not allow Mizzou to walk up and down the field comfortably. Force some turnovers. Get some shorter fields for your offense to possibly score points. But with that being said, again, this week I got the wrong team favored. I think Mizzou wins. I think Mizzou should be favored. I understand they're playing in Cal Field, and that helps a bunch with the spread. But I think Mizzou is just a better offense, better team. I do think Mizzou is capable to play defense to stop Texas A&M. If you remember against Boston College, you want to say it's Boston College, up to you, but Boston College, they really, for the most part, stopped that Boston College team. They gave up some big plays, but for the most part, on a down-to-down basis, they play really good defense. I think they'll do the same against Texas A&M, whose offense has been up and down, not really consistent. I think they'll be able to stop their offense while being able to put up points, and I think Mizzou will be able to take this game. Next game we got for y'all is SMU at Louisville. This game can have big ACC implications. Louisville comes into this game ranked 22nd in the country after losing to Notre Dame. SMU, they took one loss to BYU, but other than that, unscathed. Big win against TCU a couple weeks ago. SMU, Louisville 6.5-point favorites at home. SMU, Kevin Jennings has to be accurate. You just got to be consistent with throwing the football. They got to establish Brashard Smith, who has been a great surprise for them, the converted receiver transfer from Miami. Has to be physical. They got to be physical. A problem with SMU, in my opinion, is teams, they get physical with them and they just don't know what to do. That's just how it looks to me anyway, from the outside looking in. It just seems like if you can get physical with SMU, it bothers them a lot. They got to win the turnover battle, and they got to pressure Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck was under a heavy amount of pressure last week, and he didn't look the same. Tyler Shuck really don't look the same when he's pressured, when he's bothered. For Louisville, you got to contain Kevin Jennings' legs. He's going to want to run the football. He's able to run the football, and he's dangerous if you allow him to run the football at that quarterback position. You got to contain Brashard Smith again. He's been the pleasant surprise. He's been the back that keeps his offense afloat. Get the ball to Ja'Cory Brooks and Colin Lacey. Colin Lacey is back. He played last week against Notre Dame. So your two top guys are back. You got to find ways to get them the football. You got to establish your own rush with Donald Chaney and the guys. You got to establish your own rush. And you got to make SMU have to score with you. You got to put up points, forcing SMU hands, forcing their offense to put up points with you. And with that being said, I have my winner being Louisville. Now, partially that is because my preseason winner in this game was Louisville, so I want to stick with my preseason prediction. Both teams actually playing well. Louisville had a chance to tie or take the lead late in the game. Just didn't work out. SMU has looked better with Kevin Jennings in that starting quarterback position, but I'm going to roll with Louisville. Louisville's at home. I think Louisville has the better offense. I think Louisville can cause some problems with some physicality up front on defense. And so I'm going to roll with Louisville to win this game against SMU. Next, we have Boston College at University of Miami. I believe 2 4-1 teams. I know Virginia has lost to Maryland. Boston College lost to I keep forgetting who Boston College lost to. I looked it up yesterday already. I forgot again. But Boston College has lost. I just can't. It should be 2 losses. They should have lost to MSU, but I digress. They lost to Mizzou. I keep forgetting they lost to Mizzou. So that's not a bad loss. Losing to Mizzou on the road is not a bad loss. UVA, the Maryland loss was bad just because of how they lost, but they bounced back really well. So 2 1-loss teams going at it. Catch this game 12 o'clock on ACC Network, and Virginia's favored by 1.5 points, which I have to edit that because I didn't write the minus or the negative. There we go. Back up here. So Boston College. Thomas Castellanos is back. He did not play last week, and Grayson James had to start, and it almost was bad for the for the Eagles as they almost lost to Western Kentucky. Took a comeback effort for them to pull it off. They got to stop Anthony Calandria's passing attack. Calandria is dangerous through the air, sometimes dangerous against his own self, but he's dangerous nonetheless. Establish Kai Robichaux. and Trayshawn Ward. You got to stop. You got to force the stupid Calandria turnover. The reason why I say that is Calandria will play with fire, and that's what I mean by stupid turnover. He's going to play with fire, and you got to burn him for it. And you got to take Malachi Fields away, make him go other places. I mean, Chris Tyree, guys like that. You know, Chris, he has weapons. Don't get me wrong, but Malachi Fields is the guy that gets this passing attack going. Now, for UVA, you got to try not to be comeback Calandria. Last week they took full advantage of that. They got on Coastal Carolina early, and they didn't let them up. But it's been games where they had to be comeback kids. Wake Forest for one. No stupid turnovers again. Don't play with fire if you're Calandria. Contain Thomas Castellano's legs because that is a key part of Boston College's offense. You got to force Boston College to pass the ball. If you allow Boston College to attack you to the ground all day, they will, and they will rip off big chunks. I'm not saying they can't pass, but you would rather, as a defense, a team pass the ball than run the ball on you all day. You run the ball, it's hard to force fumbles. You pass the ball, 2 or 3 things can happen. As a former high school, just a high school defensive corner, you were taught 2 or 3 things can happen when you pass the ball. And 2 of them are good for the defense: an incompletion or an interception. Only one thing good for the offense, which is a completion. So you want to force teams to throw the ball and keep Boston College offense behind schedule because if you force them, that's how you force them in passing situations. But my winner is going to be Boston College. Main reason being because of the rushing attack. You got a team that runs the ball really effectively versus a team that passes the ball really effectively, but the quarterback at times can play with fire. I think Calandria will throw an interception. And I think Boston College will be able to run effectively and ultimately win the game on the road. Next, we got Pitt at UNC. Pitt coming into the game is 2.5-point road favorites against UNC. This game is 12 o'clock on ESPN2. Now, if you're Pitt, you got to get the ball to your X-Factor, Desmond Reed. Desmond Reed has been the X-Factor so far for Pitt, whether it's rushing or through the air. He's been so good for Pitt so far. You got Eli Holstein has to continue to be a playmaker. Eli Holstein has been so good for the Pitt Panthers. Pressure Jacoby Criswell, who I believe will be starting. I tried to look it up to see who was starting, and so far everything points to Jacoby Criswell. You have to contain Omarion Hampton, one of the better backs in the country, one of the best backs in the ACC. Get the ball to Kanata Mumfield. You're a playmaker on the outside. Now, if you're UNC, you have to get hits on Eli Holstein. You got to get some pressure on him, make him feel you, speed up that clock a little bit. Have to establish Omarion Hampton. Be aware of Desmond Reed in the passing game. Like I said, he's been an X-Factor both on the ground and through the air. If up on Pitt, you can't let up because, man, Pitt has been comeback kids. Came back against Cincinnati, won. Came back against West Virginia, won. And they've been crazy comebacks. So you cannot let your foot off the gas against these Pittsburgh Panthers. And you got to force an Eli Holstein turnover. Let's get some short fields to work with. Let's turn the ball over. Let's rattle them a little bit. But my winner is going to be Pitt. I do think that they should be favored as road favorites, which they are. I think Pitt, man, has been playing great football, well coached by Pat Narduzzi. Y'all know I love Pat Narduzzi, which was the reason why I was so high on him the year before. But man, these guys have been playing really good football. I think they're coming off a bye week, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll be well ready for UNC. And this is not an environment. Plus, they want payback for last year when Drake May. I think they played a semi-close game last year until Drake May took off. But they want that payback. And Drake May is not there. So I expect Pitt to win this game. Next game, we have Iowa at Ohio State. Ohio State 18.5-point home favorites, 3:30 on CBS. Iowa, got to make this a low-scoring game. Y'all know Iowa has a great defense. So that great defense is going to have to come and play. Get pressure on Will Howard, who left the game with an injury against MSU, but came back. So you got to get pressure on him. Clock control. You got to control the clock. You got to have long scoring drives, whether it's out. You would prefer touchdown drives, but it's Iowa, so you have to settle for field goals. Long scoring drives nonetheless. Establish Caleb Johnson, which he's been key. He's been key for this team. Running the ball with him has been super effective for this offense. And you need some sort of passing game. You do. You can't be one-dimensional against Ohio State and the great defense that they have. They're able to dial in on your offense. It's going to be a long night. You got to establish some sort of a passing game. Now, if you're Ohio State, stop Caleb Johnson in the rushing attack. I feel like if they could just stop the rushing attack, this game is over. If they could stop the run, Ohio State wins this easily. Score because Iowa's not known to score points. Yeah, they have games where they've scored some points, but when they've played competition, they don't score points. Iowa State, they put up 19, which actually ended up killing them because they couldn't score points. They allowed Iowa State back in the game. Iowa State won the game with a game-winning field goal. So they gotta if you can score on Iowa, it's over. Will Howard has to use his legs just to put more pressure on the defense. Force Iowa to pass the ball. Enough said. And you got to be able to establish the run with Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, one of the better back duos in the country. With that being said, I got Ohio State winning. Ohio State has the ability to put up points. Iowa, yeah, we can look at the numbers that they put up, but if we look at who they put them up against, they have not been the top of the top. Like Iowa has 31 against Minnesota. Troy, 38. We saw that Troy defense against Texas State. Iowa State, that one killed them. And then Illinois State, 40. Okay, fine. None of those defenses are what Ohio State is going to bring. And when they did play a defense that can be not similar, but their best defense they played, I would say maybe Iowa State, because they have an offense that can move the ball, and they only put up 19. So Ohio State has limited my Spartans to 7, Marshall to 14, Western Michigan to 0, and Akron to 6. So we're going to see, but I'm going with Ohio State easily. Next game, we got Miami of Ohio at Toledo. Toledo's home favorites by 6.5 points, 3:30 on ESPN Plus. This game, to me, I don't know if I would say yet if it's a MAC championship preview. I would say it can be. But this game is crucial for Miami of Ohio. I know they have a bad they have a 1-3 record right now, but that's all non-con. If you could get a good conference win right here, start rattling off some conference games, we could very well see Miami of Ohio in that MAC championship game. I had them as my preseason MAC champion. But yeah, this is a huge game for both sides. I got to turn the page. Miami of Ohio, Brett Gabbert. I wrote Blaine. That's his brother. Brett Gabbert has to stop the turnovers. He got to stop the turnovers. I think he got 6 interceptions on the year compared to 3 touchdowns. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. That's not winning football. You got to score some points. You got to score points to allow your defense to impose their will against this Toledo team. You got to pressure Tucker Gleason. Can't let him just make throws. Can't let him just sit back there comfy in the pocket. You got to put pressure on him. You got to make this a low-scoring game. That's kind of how they won the MAC championship last year, making it a low-scoring game, and we're just able to take advantage at points. Established Keon Mosey, the running back for Miami of Ohio. Oh, and now if you're Toledo, you have to score against a tough defense. You got to be able to find ways to put up points. They found ways last year in the regular season game to put up points. They put up 21 in the first half, donut in the second, but got to find ways to put up points. Tucker Gleason has that as no turnovers. You don't want to give Miami of Ohio short fields to take advantage to score with, which allows the defense, 1, to get momentum, and 2, if you allow this defense to figure you out, they will stop you. Win the field position battle. Again, you're going against a tough defense. Got to find ways to score, and winning the field position battle is one of them. Got to run Willie Shaw to running back, and you got to get the ball to me, your best receiver, Juwan Newton. Got to find ways to get him the ball, get him to open space, let him make plays. I'm going with the upset. Miami of Ohio is my MAC champion. So today starts the run to the MAC championship. This is a much-needed win for them. So I think they will pull it off. I do think it will be a tough battle. I do think it will be a low-scoring game. But with that being said, I think a low-scoring game favors Miami of Ohio to hang around and win it late. So I'm going to run with Miami of Ohio to beat Toledo on the road. Next game, we got Rutgers at Nebraska. Nebraska 6.5-point favorites. 4:00 on Fox Sports 1. If you're Rutgers, got to pressure Dylan Raiola. Just put some pressure on Dylan Raiola, man. He's a very good quarterback, but he's also very young. Not saying he's prone to turnovers, but he's made some plays under pressure, but he's also missed some throws under pressure. In the game I point to all the time is Illinois. Had a wide open touchdown, would have prevented overtime, but I felt like because the clock was sped up in his head, he missed the throw, and then things started unfolding. Run Kyle Monangai. Kyle Monangai is the heartbeat, whatever you want to call it, of this Rutgers offense. You got to establish him. Win the field position battle. This is going to be a defensive battle, so you got to win it to put up points. Anything Kelly Ekman has to take care of the football, which he's been doing a good job. Really hasn't been in a situation to really put the ball in harm's way. Only one pick in a year, but it's been a good job. He's been doing a good job taking care of it so far. You got to stop Nebraska's run. They want to run the ball with Dante Dowdle and those bevy of backs, but you got to stop it. Now, if you're Nebraska, you got to force Rutgers in the passing situations. Make Ethan Kelly Ekman have to make plays to beat you, which may put him putting the ball in harm's way. Stop Calvin Ungai, again, the heartbeat of this offense. Get the ball to Isaiah Nayer, He's been making plays. He made some plays in games. He's a really good receiver. Establish your own run, again, with the guys I said, and get off the field on third down. That's kind of what killed Washington a little bit in the game last Friday. They got off the field on third downs at times, but sometimes they allow Rutgers to make plays. Some drives, they just could not get off the field. So, got to get off the field on third down. But my winner is going to be Nebraska. I think Nebraska is the better offense. I think Rutgers has the better back than Calvin Ungai, by far. Not close. But the better offense to me is Nebraska. The better quarterback is Nebraska. The better defense might even be Nebraska as well. So I'm going to roll with Nebraska to beat Rutgers at home in a close one. Now to the late night slate. First game up, we have Tennessee coming in as 13.5-point favorites against Arkansas, 7:30 on ABC, night football in Fayetteville. Arkansas coming off a 3-turnover loss to Texas A&M. I think Tennessee's still undefeated. Yeah, Tennessee's still undefeated. Now top 3. I want to say Tennessee is now number 3. Oh, no, Tennessee is 4. Tennessee is 4. Tennessee got to contain Taylor Green legs. He's been killing people on the ground. He's so good as a runner. Force some turnovers. Got to stop Jaquindon Jackson, who's the running back for Arkansas. Got to establish your own run with Dylan Sampson, and Nico Iamaleava has to continue to run and play good football. Now, what I mean by that is he has to use his legs. He's been really good on the ground. He's always been a quarterback that's been good on the ground dating back to last year's bowl game. But he's also been making plays through the air. He's been taking care of the football. He's been playing good ball. So he just has to continue to do that because he's young. Arkansas, you got to run Taylor Green. You got to run him. Even though I know he fumbled last week and those picks, but you got to run him. You got to put that pressure on that defense. You got to contain Dylan Sampson. If he get loose, it opens up so much more for the Tennessee offense. Get the ball to Andrew Armstrong. You're big. He's not like big, but he's a playmaking receiver. He makes plays down the field. You got other guys like Isaac Tesla and all that, but Andrew Armstrong is the guy that you got to get the ball to. You got to block James Pierce Jr. because he can wreak havoc. He hasn't really done it yet, but he can, and we all know that. So, got to block him up, and you got to stop the turnovers, man. Like I said, they're coming off a 3-turnover loss in the game. They should have won if they didn't have that many turnovers. So they got to stop the turnovers. But I think Tennessee wins. Tennessee's just, to me anyway, by far the better team in this game. They've been looking impressive throughout the season. They have good quality wins too, so it's not like they're just looking impressive against nobody. But I think Tennessee wins this game. Next game, we have Michigan, 10th ranked Michigan at Washington, 7:30 on NBC. Michigan, they're going to need some semblance of a passing game. I'm sorry. They've been skating by the last 2 weeks without even 100 yards passing. They got to find some type of passing game with Alex Orji. Khalil Mullins will be huge in this game, obviously, because I can't pass the ball. So him and Donovan Edwards were going to be leaned on heavily. Win the field position battle, because when you're a team that runs the ball a lot, you got to set yourself up in great field position, or you just got to break big runs. Clock control. So they got to have long scoring drives. Now, with rushing attacks, you definitely will have those. If you can keep getting first downs, you'll have those 7-8 minute touchdown drives or 7-8 minute field goal drives to keep the clock control, keeping that offense off the field, the other team's offense. And you got to pressure Will Rogers. Pressure Will Rogers. Maybe he throws it with this good defense in double coverage, throws it in the fire. You come down with a turnover. Now, if you're Washington, no short fields. Do not give Michigan short fields with opportunities to score. You want them to have 70, 80-yard drives. Let's see if they can do that on the ground. Keep Michigan offense behind schedule. Again, they got to find some type of passing game. So how do you make them do that? 3rd and longs, 2nd and longs. Don't let them get 4 or 5 yards of carry. Forced passing situation is the same thing. Get off the field. On third down, you have to get off the field. Do not allow Michigan to sustain drives. Get off the field on third down, and you got to avoid Will Johnson. Will Johnson is the reason right now that Michigan still only has one loss in that column with that huge pick six against USC. He is dangerous. He has 2 pick sixes on the year. Got to avoid that, man. And with that being said, I have Washington winning only because, and literally my only reason is I don't think Michigan can squeak by 3 weeks straight with no passing game. That is the legit reason why I think Washington wins, minus the fact they are at home. I think being at home is a key as well, but Michigan don't have a passing game. And when you're one-dimensional, it's hard to win football games. I mean, granted, they won 2 straight, but it's hard to continuously do it. And if they're going to be one-dimensional, which I think they will be tonight, I think Washington gets the dub, a very close dub nonetheless, but a W. Next game we have is Duke at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech coming in as 9.5-point favorites at home. This game is 8 o'clock on ACC Network. If you're Duke, you got to contain Haynes King legs. He's been killing on the ground. He's been a monster on the ground, scoring touchdowns, long splash play touchdowns as well. Force turnovers. You got to force turnovers. If you're Duke, you got to rely on that defense. That defense has been wonders for you this year so far. Run Star Thomas, the transfer from New Mexico State, he's been having sent through the ground for Duke, and you got to get the ball to Jordan Moore, who's a playmaker. He's just a playmaker. He's a guy that's going to make a play. You put the ball in the vicinity, he's going to come down with it, and you got to force him. And Malik Murphy has to use his legs just a little bit. Just one. I feel like Georgia Tech defense is susceptible to the quarterback running, and you want to show the threat of doing that. And Malik Murphy has the ability to do so. So I think he should run the ball a little bit. Now, if you're Georgia Tech, you got to run Haynes King. Obviously, he's been key to their success. He's been with the air, through the air and through the ground. So he's been key. Haynes King, keep the INTs down. They've been down this year. They have been, but you got to keep them that way. Run Jamal Haynes, just multiple dynamics to an offense. Get the ball to Eric Singleton Jr. and Malik Rutherford, your 2 playmakers on the outside. Those guys, they're just tough to stop. And you got to force Malik Murphy to pass, like passing situations. I don't know if Malik Murphy, I know you got Jordan Waters, but I don't know if Malik Murphy in the Duke offense is going to continuously beat you on 3rd and longs, passing situations. So force them in those situations. And my winner is going to be Georgia Tech in a close one. But I think Duke keeps it close with that defense. They might even have a chance later in the game to win it with that defense, but I think Georgia Tech pulls that game out. Next game, I have University of Miami at Cal. 10:30 on ESPN. Miami comes into the game ranked number 8. Miami, they can't play this game like last week. They can't play a close one like last week. I think they get burned if they do. Cal boasts a really good defense, and I think offensively they're not bad as well. Cam Ward can't have another 2 interception performance like last week. If you allow this defense to be opportunistic, it's gonna get crazy. Established Damian Martinez. I feel like Damian Martinez didn't have a lot of opportunities to get going. I think they gotta. I know Cam Ward has been killing through the air. I get that, but this week I feel like you gotta mix in Damian Martinez a little bit more to keep this Cal defense off their on their toes. Win the turnover battle. So that means that defense going to have to force some turnovers, whether it's Tyler Barron coming off the edge, sack, fumble, interceptions, something like that. You got to, I think Ruben Bain's back, so Ruben Bain up the middle being disruptive. And get the ball to Xavier Restrepo in space, man. That's been the recipe. Get him the ball. He's been putting up 100-yard games. He's really nice. Restrepo is nice, so get him the ball. Kyle, you got to continue to play good defense. And it's going to be tough against this aerial assault that Miami University is bolstering, but you got to find ways to get to Cam Ward and, things of that nature. Have to find ways to disrupt Miami offense. There you go. Run Jaden Ott, who, again, y'all know he's been one of my favorite running backs since his freshman year. You have to make open field tackles against Xavier Restrepo especially, but Martinez, Ward can use his legs. Got to make open field tackles. You got to win the field position battle. With a defense like Cal, you got to force good field position for your offense so they can have shorter fields to try to score. But my winner in this is going to be Miami of I keep saying Miami of Ohio. The U. Because I don't say Miami. I say the U. My winner is going to be the U. That offense is tough to stop. I don't think they're going to be able to stop it. I think they might contain it for a drive or two, but Cam Ward is just doing his thing, even with the 2 picks. Still had 4 touchdowns. Still led the game-winning drive. It's just tough to beat this Miami team right now. And my last game of the night is Texas Tech at Arizona, 11 o'clock on Fox. Arizona being 6.5-point home favorites, excuse me. Texas Tech, you got to pressure North Fighter. We all know he's the engine that makes this offense go. The running game is cool for Arizona, but we all know it's for Fighter-led, or for Feeder, excuse me. Had to contain Tory McMillan, the best player on this Arizona team. You got to find ways to contain him. It's hard, but you got to find ways, whether it's bracket coverage, zone, something. Got to run Taj Brooks. Taj Brooks, again, I say it all the time. He's a guy that in the first half, you might be getting good hits on him. Second half, you want no parts of it. You don't want to continuously tackle Taj Brooks, and he wears down on defenses. So you got to run him, even if it's short games, no gain, maybe a loss. Continue to run Taj Brooks. Got to win the turnover battle if you're Texas Tech. And you got to get the ball to Josh Kelly, your big play receiver from Washington State. Now, if you're Arizona, you won't have to tackle Taj Brooks. You got to come ready to play, ready to tackle if you Arizona's defense. I understand. I get it. That guy's a big guy who can move, but you got to come ready. Have to spread the ball around if you Fafita. Can't be just Victoria McMillan or bust. You got to find Luminous Craig. You got to find all those guys. You got to spread the ball around to get Victoria McMillan open. You got to force some turnovers. Texas Tech was able to force them last week. Didn't really get a ball away. I think they had one, but got to force some turnovers. Got to pressure Baron Moore. And Baron Moore has been playing really well. I think it was 14 touchdowns, to 2 picks. Find some ways to pressure him. Maybe throws the ball in a line of fire, but you got to put pressure on him. And you got to make some splash plays. That's what Arizona's built off. Arizona's built off big plays. Big plays, momentum-building plays, splash plays. But with that being said, I'm going to roll with Texas Tech because my main reason, Taj Brooks, they got a running game. And Baron Moore has been playing really well as well, but Taj Brooks wears down on defenses. And if you remember in the loss against K-State, the rushing attack killed Arizona. Baron Morton can use his legs. He's not really a runner, though, but he can use his legs. But the running game killed Arizona against the game against K-State. And I think it will cause some problems for Arizona in this game. And I think Texas Tech will rely heavily on the run game because of it. So I'm picking Texas Tech to win against Arizona. Now, with that being said, that is everything. All the previews I got for y'all today. Y'all enjoy these college football games, man. I know I will when I get a chance to tune in. And I'll be back. I'm shooting for tomorrow. I'm shooting to be back for tomorrow for the recaps. Friday's already been up. I got my Friday recaps done. The reason why I'm shooting for tomorrow is because I got to shoot for Monday or Tuesday morning because we got Conference USA starting Tuesday next week, man. Week 7 is close, slowly here. Tuesday football, Wednesday football, Tuesday through Saturday college football is here, and it's going to be here for the rest of the year. Start with Conference USA. Then weeks later, we got Maction. We all love Maction. So I gotta be somewhat here Sunday. I'm shooting for 11, 12 o'clock so I can catch my Ravens at 1, but we'll see how that goes. But I should be seeing y'all tomorrow. Y'all got to hold me to it. But I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode. Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.